Okay, let's make a start. Good evening, everyone. Trust you're all well. Welcome to our second class. In our class today, we're going to look at the role of a PM. So, in the first class, we looked at essentially the evolution of the product management role and how it's currently being utilized in the tech space. We looked at how product management isn't a new thing. It's something that's been around, it's evolved, and in today's world, the evolution continues. And you're seeing lots and lots of product managers being demanded in the industry. Every company is creating, a function. It's a function that is just as necessary to run a business as it is to have a finance function, as it is to have a legal function, as it is to have a marketing function. So the product management function has become as imperative, and as more and more companies become tech businesses, that's what you have today. Every business is a tech business. If you're going to compete and remain in business, especially at the rate of change and how consumers are making demands, you're going to have to be very agile in your ways and also in your delivery of value to customers. And as such, more and more product managers are in demand. And another thing we also learned in the first class was that a PM it's a great role, to allow you to get into tech. Why? Because you just need to have, enthusiasm, passion, and just commitment to growing. You don't need to have, the tech capabilities. Those would come down the line, but you just need to have sound business reasoning, being able to identify and understand a strong value proposition. If a company, like for example, uh, Uber or a Bolt is going to exist, as a PM, you have to think we must offer value to our customers. If we offer value to our customers, we will win the business, we'll win the war. So believe it or not, Uber and Bolt, they compete. It's war. That's how it's seen. If you are a PM in Uber or in Bolt, you find that you are always keeping tabs. How is the competitor doing? What new features have they released that have helped them to sort of take an edge in the market? And the edge there is referring to is made customers really happy to switch. So do you keep your customers, or do you win customers on a weekly basis? So, and these are all decisions. And as a PM, you have to think. Sometimes you make the decision to say, actually, we're going to just focus on winning new business, new customers, rather than trying to retain the customers that we have. So all of these ideas, initially they're useful, but as a company becomes more mature, you start to think of different strategies to help you compete in the market. Your initial strategies as a up and coming business may have been really good, but as your company continues to evolve, then your strategies also change. So a PM, these are some of the ideas that you can use to add value to your company. So in today's session, we'll look at how a PM brings value to any organization, and then we'll discuss the in-class assignment last week, which was that everyone picks a company, and given that company, we'll then look at our first assessment and assignment as a PM. But when you began this course, immediately you became a product manager. So you're all PMs now, and you start to think like a PM, you start to behave and act like a PM. And one of the key things that PMs do is you need to have an assessment of your company, your products. How many products do you have? Which is your best product? How do you, position it in a way that continues to bring favorable business to the company? And so that's what the market analysis / product analysis is all about. First things first, we look at, I think, this. This is what wasn't desirable. Okay. So, in first thing to look at is the in-class assignment last week, which was that we choose a company and to look into. So here we can see that there are clashes. So someone picked Google Maps, that's fine. But we have more than one people picking companies like Facebook, for instance, and it has to be individual. There can't be any lapse. So people that chose Netflix, YouTube, and Facebook. So we're going to have to give the first person to submit the form is the one that keeps that company. So where there are more than one selections, as you can see here with Facebook, we're going to assign Facebook to the first person that submitted the form. And so we'll be in touch with some of the people who made the submissions to either select a new company. And this isn't difficult. There are tons of companies. So these aren't the only companies out there. There are tons of companies. We just need any tech business, and there are tons of them. And I also gave examples of, fintechs. These are sometimes even easier to analyze, but any company will do. So don't worry if your choice has been taken by someone else. It's an easy thing to resolve. Right, so in today's session then, we'll begin with the role of a product manager. So let's go. The role of a PM. So a product manager is a person who identifies the customer and the larger business objectives that a product or feature will fulfill. This person not only just does the identification. So by identification here, it's a PM could also be an entrepreneur. So as an entrepreneur, you think of a product out there that you say, for example, Mark Zuckerberg, when he founded Facebook, he sat and he thought, wow, I'm currently at Harvard, and there aren't any ways for students to communicate. There are ways, but it's just not very, it's not the best. And he came up with Facebook. So he identified a problem. He identified a problem and then identified who has those problems. So that's known as the need identification, a problem identification. And then he thought of the larger business objectives. The larger business objectives for Facebook is to connect people. And then of course, that product advanced. It became not just something for communication within the Ivy Leagues in the US, but actually a product that could be global. So you could be anywhere on the face of the planet and you connect with someone, you send them a message and they receive it. Prior to this was 2008. You didn't have WhatsApp. WhatsApp didn't exist. So you had BlackBerry at the time. WhatsApp never existed. So Facebook was huge. Being able to send someone a message, and you also had MySpace. I don't know if some of us in this call are aware of MySpace. It seemed to have just died. We'll touch on companies like MySpace, for example. Why do some companies die? If you identify a problem and you fail to serve that need really well, what can happen is you will die, because someone else will come up and solve the problem in a much more efficient and effective way, and as such they will steal all the customers. So And that's where PMs come in. PMs always evaluating. Are we serving our customers' needs? What is our larger business objectives? And is our product fulfilling those needs? You fulfill those needs by the features that you provide. So this is tech. This is a technical world. So as a technical world, how do you reach out to people? Think of your bank, for instance. If you can, it used to be that you make an appointment, go to the bank to make a transfer. Today, in the technical world, you can do that by a single button on your phone. You see, that's amazing. That's identifying customers' problems and then understanding those needs and then really uncovering what is the goal of a customer booking an appointment with a bank manager to go move money. Okay, what if I can do that? I can provide a feature that would allow them to do that in their own house. How amazing would that be? So that's fulfilling those needs. And if you do that really well, you provide customers with convenience. Now I don't have to get up at 9 a.m. to go to an appointment. I can do that in my house 24/7. So as a PM, you articulate what success looks like. Success in the case of a bank is a customer being able to wake up in the morning and just do a transfer or do a transfer at 1 a.m. at night. So there's no restrictions. So you give them, that convenience to do it as and when they want. So a PM is always having these needs. So you identify multiple needs and you align those needs with features. So this feature here, for example, the ability to make a transfer would fulfill the need of a customer calling the bank manager to complete a transaction. So that's the old way of doing things. In the new world, with the rise of fintechs, there are so many ways. You can set a prompt on Alexa, and Alexa will do the transfer for you. So there's so many more advanced ways. And as a PM, is always thinking, how can I make life easier for customers? Customers are the reason why you build products. So the PM rallies the team to turn all these features into a vision, and then from a vision to reality. Reality is actually seeing customers being able to achieve those needs that they wanted. I'll pause here for a question. Any question?
Okay, mine is not a question, but I just wanted to find out if you are to share your screen with us.
Hmm. Can you not see my screen?
Not at all.
Apologies. Uh, just a moment. I'll share. Good catch. Yeah, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, and also these slides will be shared at the end of the session, so you also have them for your own perusals. And so broadly speaking, then a good PM. I mean, there's several PMs. As in any industry, you think of lawyers, for instance. They're really great lawyers, and they are average lawyers, and they are amazing lawyers. So in PM, there are amazing PMs. There are okay PMs, and then there are outstanding PMs. In this course, we're trying to get you to get to that level of absolutely being outstanding. And to be an outstanding PM, you need to be a master of really understanding and representing user needs. And that means, you take a product, and that's part of this exercise that we're doing. That you pick a YouTube, for instance, and you say, wow, what are the needs that YouTube is really serving? What is a problem that they're really solving? Prior to YouTube, you couldn't go online and watch videos. There was no such thing. People were using MySpace, for example, and going to Google to search for videos, but there wasn't a centralized platform that gave you, total access to videos. You can watch even movies, just go in there and watch all kinds of things. And of course, the product has evolved now. So they really spent time to understand what users wanted from YouTube. Why do users come to YouTube? Like, what are they after? And then they understand those needs and they translate them into features. The features are what we refer to as requirements. Requirements is what are users looking to do when they come to YouTube? They're looking to watch videos, they're looking to, socialize, they're looking to watch movies. And if you understand all of these needs, then you try to serve them one at a time. And as a PM, whenever you're going into a project, you're looking to, really, okay, what is this project looking to achieve? How will this project at the end of it, get us closer to serving customers even better? And so that's one of the key things that you do. You understand and represent users' needs. So if a project seems not to be moving you closer to understanding users' needs, then as a PM, you state your thoughts very clearly, and you can push back to say, actually, what we're doing here doesn't make us better. Why? Because our competitors are doing so much better. If we have a plan to catch up with them, fine. Then otherwise, this, what we're trying to deliver with this project is actually mediocre. And so these are some of the ways that you can represent customers, because ultimately, if as a PM you release projects or products that don't serve users as well, then what would happen is people will switch to your competing products. I'll consistently use the example of Uber and Bolt, because globally right now these two are going at it really intensely. Some countries are known as Bolt countries, some are known as Uber countries, and it's just preferences. It's based on how well they feel their needs are served. In most countries, it's a few weeks a few weeks back, I was in Norway. In Norway, many people use it's more Bolt. They love Bolt. Uber is in fact almost non-existent. It's there, but it isn't as used. And you find that the drivers themselves, they prefer Bolt. Users prefer Bolt. So as a result, Uber hasn't really evolved that market. And if you're a PM at Uber, then you have to sit and understand, what is it that Bolt is doing really well in Norway? Is it that their prices are cheaper? You couldn't use your local taxis. They're so expensive. So that makes Bolt even more preferable. So key thing here is always seek to understand and represent users' needs. And then of course you need to monitor the market. So I just mentioned Norway. You need to understand what are the market dynamics. Why is it that Bolt is so favorable? Is it that their prices are so much cheaper? Could that be it? Is price an indicator of value? These are some of the questions you have to try and answer. And then you do a complete market analysis. And these are things that we'll give you templates for, and we'll go through it together. So you have an idea of how to do a comprehensive market analysis on any company. And then the whole purpose of trying to monitor the market and to do a competing market analysis is to help you to be able to understand what is it that outsiders are doing really well, and how can you incorporate some of the ideas that they do into your own product. And we see the likes of an example of this. We look at iPhone or Apple with Samsung. They always sue themselves. This year Apple is suing Samsung for X billion. The next year Samsung is suing Apple for X billion. That's happening because in the market that we live in the global market that we are in, firms are always copying themselves. Apple comes up with an amazing feature. Well, guess what? Samsung is going to look at it and they're going to try and spin it a little bit differently. By doing so, as Apple will look at that and say, well, that's a ripoff of our feature. We can prove it. And so it's back and forth. So as a PM, PMs are part of that problem because They do a market analysis and they see what features that competing firms have adopted and provided to the users, and they seek to provide something similar. In most cases, even the same feature. And it's really difficult to argue that you're the only one that should be allowed to provide that feature. This is tech. Anything is possible. And so something else then, as a PM, to be an outstanding PM, you need to be great at is defining a vision for a product. So what is a vision for products like YouTube? What is a vision for Google? What is a vision for Google search, Google Maps? So all of these, they have a vision. Google search is to provide information to you and make it accessible for everyone to access. Such a grander vision. So being very vision led is critical as a PM. And that means in most companies you will join, you're not going to be joining and told to come up with a vision. You will join and you find that they have an existing vision. So this is something that's set by the head of PM or the chief product officer. So it's set by someone very senior, and that vision is then cascaded to everyone within the team. And so for you, it's always to ask, what is the North Star? Where are we headed? Because if you understand where we're headed, then you can build great products. So whenever a team has a disagreement on features, you can say, well, our vision is to make information accessible to everyone. So these features that we've identified, are they in line with providing that vision? In the case where they aren't in line, then it makes it easier for you to push back and say these features are actually not adding any value towards helping us to understand and meet to serve those customer needs. So as a PM, always be vision led. Vision led means if you join a company, seek to understand the product vision. What is our vision for this product? And that's something that you can then use in your meetings with stakeholders. You can be that champion. You champion user needs. You champion user needs by holding everyone accountable, that whatsoever is done in the product or in the project, that it returns value to users. If it adds no value to users, it's actually not helping anyone. So at all times, a product that you're on should always be bringing that bigger alignment to the vision and bigger alignment to the features. So it's vision, features, and alignment. If those three things are aligned, then you find that your end product is going to be well liked by users. And of course, this is a predictor. It doesn't mean it's going to come out 10 out of 10. If you're an entrepreneur coming up with a product, you've observed a need in the market, and you craft a vision for the product, and you're given that vision. Given that vision is on, you really then dig in deeper to ensure that the features that I have set will then go into to align with that vision. And then how do you communicate your overall product to users? So always be thinking vision, 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 and each time you have a conversation with anyone, whether in your own company or in a company where you work as a PM, you need to be thinking vision. And here's how we serve users. You serve users via product prioritization, like features and capabilities. So features is how, like, what do users do? I mentioned earlier that it used to be that most banks, people had to call up the bank manager or someone in the bank to say, I would love to come in and collect £20,000 today, and then that person will have to walk to the bank or drive to the bank, however way they wish to. But now with much advanced features and capabilities, I don't have to do that. I could just literally sit at the comfort of my home at 2-3 a.m. if that's when I wish to do it, and go online and get that done. In the back office, there might be some restrictions to ensure that no one can move such huge sums of money, but if I make the request on my app, or however I deem it necessary to do so, I can make such transfers without having to go into a bank. So, tech capabilities are making things, so much more easier and convenient for users. So your role as a PM is always thinking, how can I make, customers' lives easier? How can I solve problems? So always being a problem solver, identifying needs in advance. You need to be 4, 5, 6 moves ahead, of your competitors, of users. You need to anticipate users' needs, anticipate a problem before they even recognize that they have a problem. And so being ahead of, the game. And lastly, creating a shared brain across larger teams to empower independent decision making. And this is something that's worked on by multiple PMs. If you're the first PM in a team, then you're essentially creating, a way of thinking. And being a product manager it's all about a way of thinking, and that can be summarized as being a problem solver. Having a very structured way to get from A to B all the way through to completion. So it's all about having structure, and that's why in this course we give you the frameworks. So frameworks allow you to think, if two people follow the same framework and they do exactly the same things and given the conditions are the same, then you get the same outcomes. So frameworks help you to have more predictability, so you can predict more outcomes with frameworks. And one of the frameworks is product analysis, choosing a company and going through that life cycle analysis. That's a framework. So we use that to analyze multiple companies. No two people will have the same companies, and that in the end, we share these, so everyone will get to have, everyone will get to see what other people did, and you can see that will give you even more insights and will solidify your understanding of life cycle analysis. So you get to see more than what you did. And again, that's creating a shared brain across larger teams. So if you were, imagine these companies as being just products, not just companies. So if you were working for the same company, but the company has multiple products, that would be an example. So you look at what someone else has done in their life cycle analysis, and that gives you ideas of what you two could potentially do for your product. Any question? Okay, take that as no questions. Brilliant. So in product management, you have this idea of product manager versus a product owner. There's similar roles that they even have some overlaps in skill sets. However, being a product manager it's a much more, it's a strategic role. Strategic being, as you can see in the outline here, you're thinking big picture. You're also thinking small picture. So it's combined, being able to step up and think big picture, that get that helicopter view, and then come back to this into the tactical. So one is very very much a strategic role, which is a product manager, and then the product owner, it's a tactical role where you're essentially focused on delivery. And whether you're focused on, whether you're in an agile environment or in a waterfall environment, it's irrelevant. A PM, a product manager, focuses on, the strategic view, why we do what we do, and what is the benefit for our end users. And a product owner is thinking, okay, I need to deliver this because the PM has thought about the strategic, elements of why and how we'll deliver value. And as a product owner, then you're just thinking of the what to do. So the PM has figured out all of the features, the key requirements, and pass them over to a product owner. The product owner then takes that and expands on them. So it's more an expansive roles of being able to, then go into the tactical details like, okay, what color should this be? What color should an app be? What color should some of the features? So just thinking more the deliverables. And so a product manager and a product owner, they work together. A PM hands over to the product owner, who then takes those deliverables and works with the development team, so the likes of engineers, quality analysts, that's the QAs, business analysts, your UX designers, and VD designers. So all of these are critical in allowing for the development and release of a product. I think we're going to have to be strict, guys, that if anyone shows up 30 minutes after, we just don't let them in until the next session, because it's very disruptive. Okay, so while a product manager defines the direction of the product through research, vision setting, alignment, prioritization, the product owner should work more closely with the development team, as I just alluded. So the PM, mainly just want to ensure this point is really clear. The PM defines the direction. Where should we take this product? It does so by doing that, what we call market analysis, really understanding the landscape. What are our competitors doing? How are they serving users' needs? And then so working with UX researchers to really understand how some of the needs could be met. And then having that, setting a vision. You say, well, as a product manager, do I have to set a vision? That's just a big word for saying, what are we going to do? Why do we need to do this? So just having a statement that defines your North Star. And if we do this, what is the benefit to our company? And then now going to sell this to your stakeholders. So alignment. So you have your stakeholders as a product managers. That could be, okay, your legal advisors. Your legal advisors being your legal team. Your finance team. As a PM, you don't just work in isolation. You need to ensure that there is alignment with other functions that are responsible for also running the business, especially in the tech world that we live in. You think there's a role, there's a legal framework called GDPR, for example. If you're a PM working in the UK for a bank we call Monzo, you need to ensure that your provision, that means your core value proposition, is in alignment with the legal frameworks that exist in the United Kingdom, that you're not going to be falling short, because if you fall short, then the government will come after you. So you need to ensure that you adhere to the legal rules and regulations, and this applies to all countries, all fintech organizations. If you are PamPay in Nigeria, you need to ensure that you align with the legal ramifications that apply to fintechs or banking institutions. So as such, this is where your legal colleagues will fit in, because they have the core understanding of what those requirements are, and then they can feed them to you. So that's why we call it alignment, ensuring that what your product is going to deliver. Your PamPay, you're saying someone can open an account with just a phone number. I mean, that's amazing. It's quick. But how does that relate? How does that stop fraud, for instance? And that's why so your legal people will say, well, it's possible to open an account and run an account, but there is a limit that we need to give. After that, any amounts greater than that limit, we'll need to verify who you are. So KYC, you need to know your customer. So this is how you build alignment. And then your marketing colleagues will say, well, we can market this. We need to ensure that everyone knows that you can open an account really quickly and very easily, seamlessly, but there's a limit on which you can add money to your account unless you then further verify your identity. So now as a tech team, you're working with your product owner. The product owner says, wow, these are quite a lot of features. We need to prioritize. That means, what are the ones that we can do immediately? and what are some requirements that we can push to do down the line. If everything is important, it means nothing is important. So as a PM, you must put on your strategic hat and prioritize and say, for example, 3 features are critical. We need to do them now. And then subsequently, we do 2 more features down the line. And then later, we do some more. So consistently prioritizing based on value to customers. So the PM then is thinking strategic and working with the product owner to ensure that those requirements are going to be delivered. So one is, more strategic and one is tactical. But all in all, they work together to execute against, set goals that the product manager defines. So what does that look like? As a PM, you can, you can work with outside stakeholders being, the likes of your fellow colleagues from marketing, from legal, from finance, from operations. It could be also stakeholders from clients, so external companies who help to shape what you do in some way or form. And so it's imperative that as a PM, you're involved in those conversations and ensure that the product that you're developing is going to be, well aligned with the goals of the company, that is going to solve problems. So again, PM, you also help to define the product vision, as we've talked about. Then you outline what success looks like. This is so critical. If you're building a product, you need to know what success looks like. So being clear on what success looks like then allows you. It's like seeing the end before you even begin. For YouTube, the end was people coming to our platform and watching several videos. That's amazing. So if that's what success looks like, then you can start putting the necessary features in your product that would lead to you getting to that end goal that you had in mind. And then as a PM, you don't own marketing, but you have colleagues that own marketing. So you work with them to ensure that customers, are aware of what you're planning to release, and you're having conversations with, marketing team that we're planning to release some features. How do we do so? How do we go about ensuring customers are aware of it? How do we go about testing it as well to get feedback to ensure that your return on investment, that's your ROI, is going to be, worth the effort. You don't want to spend so much money in the product and then find out that no one actually wants to use it. This happens. Many teams do this. They spend lots of money and then find out that, users don't think that the product solves any problem. And that's why as a PM, you have to be championing users' needs. And then, of course, you work at a conceptual level. Conceptual level just means that from the onset, you're going from idea, just an idea. So someone says, I have a problem watching a video. Well, you think on how to resolve that. So you conceptualize the problem and then start breaking it down all the way to delivery. Delivery being handing over to a product owner who then works with internal stakeholders. So internal stakeholders here refers to your engineering team, business analysts, UX researchers, UX designers, and XD as well. So all of these people then are responsible. Anytime you use a tech product, right now we're using Google Meet. This is a team that delivers it. The product owner is there, being responsible. So taking ownership, because they have to report to their product manager to say, this is what we developed in this sprint. And then the PM would look at it and say, yes, okay, it does align with, the vision for the product. And so always reporting back, always being in conversations with the product manager. So you, in this course, you're learning how to be a product manager. It also means you can also be a product owner, but we're learning how to be a product manager. One really great thing about being a product manager is you will feel like you can do everything. And that's why the role is known as the mini CEO in a tech team, because you gain such transferable skills. You can go into the role of a business analyst if you wanted to. You can go into the role of a product owner if you wanted to, because you get the holistic skills, and so it becomes by choice. But to continue with the demarcation of the day-to-day activities, then the product owner, in this case, also helps the team to execute the shared vision that has been communicated by the product manager, and then the PO outlines a plan for achieving that success. A plan could just be in the daily scrum meetings that the agile team has. So today we'll be doing XYZ, and tomorrow we'll look at doing some more. So it's going over. That's just a plan. That's what a plan there means. It's not saying the PO has to go about, because the PM has done that planning. So here is more tactical. What is the plan to deliver the key features that the PM has provided. So the PO here owns that backlog and is responsible for the fulfillment of it. So it's involved in every day-to-day activity. Any question on this? Great. No question. So this course, just to emphasize, teaches you to master both the skill sets of PM and PO, as I just alluded, so you're in good hands. So we've looked at this already: market research, product strategy, product development, product launch, and iterative improvement. So these are some of the things that you do, and again, it's not just going to be a theoretical concepting, but you actually get your hands in the process of actually doing how do I go about understanding customer needs and market research. We'll do that together. And you also have homework to do that will help you to build these core skills. So again, in defining a clear product vision and roadmap, again, we'll do all of these together. And we'll go through one together in class, and then you will then have examples to take home and build to help you solidify those skills. The vision is, after this course, you will have not just the theoretical understanding, but also the doing. So learning by doing. So when you get a role, it's not, I don't have product management experience. I have deep product management experience. I know and I can do. So that means any company you join, you can go in immediately, march, and add incredible value to the team. And also you can sell yourself in interviews, because you will have to practice to be able to give examples. I mentioned tactical core responsibilities. The PM has a strategic and tactical, and those can merge into one. But one thing I want to drive down is, as a PM, you come to develop specific domain expertise. And this would come from let's say you join Google Maps, the company, you join Google and they ship you to focus on Google Maps. And you've been at Google Maps for the past 3 years. You're going to have specific domain expertise. And all that means is you're going to have such a deep level of understanding of customer requirements. You're going to build several roadmaps, and by building several roadmaps, you're going to have a wide understanding of what customers want, and then you're going to be an expert at advocating and articulating those users' needs. And all that means is you're going to be someone that will go into a meeting to listen to maybe a new project that your superiors, as your managers, are trying to bring about, and you can tell them, no, I think that's not what I've been in this product for the past 3 years. I've come to understand, the very level of customer problems that exists, and what you're currently trying to do doesn't fulfill any of those needs, or doesn't solve any of those problems. And so you can use that specific domain expertise to push back on, ideas being fed to you from the top. So you then have the hands-on experience, the hands-on knowledge to be able to push back. So this is something that will happen if you join any team. It just happens naturally. You become so aware of, the problems, and you become so, also knowledgeable on the ideas and the features that will drive customer satisfaction. And that's one of your goals, to ensure that customer satisfaction is at the key, it's at the helm of everything you do. And so every business case that comes to you to say we're trying to deliver a new product, or we're trying to enhance an existing product, you can say, actually, putting any more resources or people to work on a specific product is a waste of time and money. And you can back those up with your rationale, your reasons for doing so. So ultimately what you're doing is you're defining ways that would help the company to better meet the needs of customers. And so you're always thinking of how do we make our product more marketable, to our end users, because it solves problems. Okay, and here I mentioned earlier what you have with frameworks. Frameworks are amazing. They help you to shape your thinking. So these are all the things that you will ever need to do as a PM. You join any company immediately. This is things that you will have access to, so you never have to be alone in your journey as a PM. Everything you will ever have to do, it's all here. And it ranges from market research, customer research, competitive research, product performance, market segmentation, product propositions, product discovery, requirements, design and build. These are some of the things that you would have to do, and these are the frameworks that can help you to do so. And we can categorize this into three key phases. There's one that's main for gathering insights. So the likes of market research, customer research, they all give you insight, into the customer problem. What is it that customers are facing? What is the core problems that they have? In order to understand that, you do market research. You also do customer research. You also do competitive research, product performances. All of these things, they give you a holistic view of the problem. So you develop insights. With insights, you become wiser on how to approach the problem. And then the next phase is your analysis. In the analysis, you look at things like segmentation, propositions, positioning, business cases. Analysis, a business case, as I previously alluded, you look at, your managers come to you and say, here's a business case, or let's build a business case together. Let's add a new ways of posting a video on YouTube. That could be the idea. That's a business case. And YouTube have just recently added something called YouTube Shorts. It's just a very short video. So YouTube has like long form videos, short form videos, all kinds of videos, but they've introduced a new one called YouTube Shorts. It's it's similar to like stories on Instagram and so on, but that might be the business case, and then you justify why is this right? Why is it now? Why is now the time that we should release such a product? And we call that a product. Yeah, so you have several products. YouTube Shorts is in the world of tech, you will call something like that a product, or you call it a project. But product managers will call that a product because we're thinking from a user's needs perspective. Project managers will call that a project because they're thinking from resources. How many people do they need to build that product? So we're thinking, well, this business case, how do we ensure that it meets a need that exists out there, that it's something that actually our customers will find valuable? So as PMs, we'll then look at, to first gain insights. So we'll do the usual market research. So if you join the team and someone says, here's a business case we're thinking of doing, you can ask a question immediately, to make yourself, look like you're going to add value. You can say, well, have we done any market research to gain insight into this business case? And someone can say, yes, we have. Here's a link for you to get up to speed. And then that's amazing. But immediately they're aware that you're someone that can add value, because you don't just jump into a business case without any data to back up why. So again, these are some of the things that you could do. And then the next phase is direction. This business case, this idea that you have, where are we headed? You do so by understanding and setting a vision. So vision, and then evangelizing just means you're pushing it on, everyone. So your stakeholders, you're making sure everyone is on board, that everyone buys into it. So you're championing that vision because you believe YouTube Shorts is going to really take YouTube to the next level and bring on those users who have abstained from using YouTube because they feel like it has too many long videos, so they find it laborious. So now as a PM, you evangelize on why this new product is going to be so useful for the company, and then you build a roadmap. A roadmap, again, all of these things giving you frameworks. We'll go through them together so you have an idea on how to fulfill. Sort of, this is what I was just going through right now. I appreciate that this wasn't clear, but you can see in insight, you'll have market research, customer research, and so on. In analysis, when you're doing an analysis, you do segmentation. It just means market segmentation to group similar users, and you build personas. You build your product propositions, and you do positioning. Positioning just means how do you position your product in the mind of your users. It's an interesting exercise. And then we look at the business case. Again, this is all in analysis. And in direction, you have your product. A portfolio just means you have a range of products, and some products they aim to deliver the same strategy that's getting you closer and closer to, maybe for example in YouTube you have several forms of videos. You have short form, you have medium form, which means it's something like an hour or two, and then you have some some videos which are like 10 hours. I don't know why anyone would do that, but you do see them. 10 hours, again, not many people want those kinds of videos returned as search results. So, but it caters to various needs. It's not just a single group of users that the company serves. It serves multiple users. So when you look at the role of a PM in the insights phase, you look at researching, market research. So researching and gathering market data, expert opinion, and insights. So what are customers currently saying about your product? How are they finding it? And just getting those data points and just keeping them, not really being mindful of does it make sense, because when you have everything at once, you can then start observing for patterns and trends. And so tracking these market drivers and trends would help you to have a solid foundation on what's currently happening. And for example here is like trends such as technology developments and changes to legislation. That's something that's always impacting tech businesses in today's world. Legislation. Many companies don't fully understand how to legislate tech. So that in some countries there are new legislations every now and again, and that's why it's crucial as a PM to maintain a solid relationship with the legal team in any company you join. Always have a close relationship with the legal team, so whenever you're working on any product, you can seek their advice to say we're thinking of releasing this product, and at the moment we're still at inception. Inception just means we're trying to think of ideas, And then as you go through that product development phases, where you start looking at the conception of the idea, so solidifying and defining the problem that you're trying to resolve, you can take that and just double check with the legal team, to sort of give you some advice, if any. If there isn't, you just continue, but you keep that relationship open. And then you have things like customer research. Again, this is, it's the usual, doing surveys, various ways of doing customer research, especially now with the likes of UX designers and visual designers. So you can actually trying to test ideas or get customer feedback on just conceptual ideas is really tough because they're abstract. Whereas with the likes of VD, so visual designers and experienced designers, these guys, they take an idea from conception and visualize it. So it's something that customers can see. If they can see it, then they can give you uh, more real feedback on how whatever problem you're trying to solve and how it really meets their needs. And if it doesn't, you can get that feedback really quickly without investing so much resources. And that's some of the benefits of having a team of UX and UI. And then product performance, of course, it's being clear on the KPIs. So what are some of the key performance indicators that you think the product should help you achieve? You do research on how the existing product or how the new product might help you to fulfill in those core indicators. So one that most companies sometimes use is like revenue. This new product, how does it add to the bottom line? How does it push our revenue? So how does it increase our revenue? And how does it give us more users? How does it increase the number of customers that we'll have at the end of it? So it tries to visualize the end. So think of the end in mind. What are some of the end value that might be, useful to say this product was a success? If it increases the number of customers, then it's a success. Yeah. And then competitive research. This is one as a PM that you'll be doing a lot, and one of the things you'll be doing a lot is benchmarking. In this course, you will do benchmarking a whole lot. We'll do lots of benchmarking. Benchmarking just means you have, let's say, and this is something that in the travel space. So you look at even airlines, Virgin Airlines or American Airways or British Airways, all of these companies, they benchmark. They look at how they can enhance their offerings. So in flying, that's one way, or in booking. So in booking is one of the easiest ways to enhance your offering to customers. If to book a flight, customers have to go through, so much more stress to do that. Most of them will drop out, would immediately switch to your, competitors because it's too difficult for them. But if you make it easier and you give them a great user experience just means it's seamless for them to find the flight, and then you can then add value by showing them deals if you have any. A company that does this really well in the UK is EasyJet. If you go there, deals aren't hidden from you. Most companies hide their deals. They make them so easily, accessible that they, in turn, like I said, you have your KPIs. So it increases the number of customers that fly with them, and it also impacts their revenue because more people can book. Again, this is a strategy. So benchmarking, I'm sure, which if you go within the company, you will find that they do lots of benchmarking. So it's a problem that they've really keyed into. They understand that most airlines aren't that transparent. They hide these things. They try to book the most expensive flights first, and whereas they take the other approach, they make you see the cheaper flights, and in turn more people are booking, so more people are flying. which is also impacting positively on their revenue. And so benchmarking is critical. You understand, you zone into a problem and then you solve it with your product. So you understand your strengths and then you see your weaknesses. In most cases, you just focus on your strengths and you just make them so much better. In other cases, you try to resolve your weaknesses. And then that helps you to, get better with your product. Any questions?
None for now, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Uh, shall we take a 2 minutes break? I realize it's been an hour. So if you need to get a tea or water, you can do so, and then we can hop back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Shall we begin? Hope everyone use that opportunity to grab water or a beverage or something just to keep you going. Okay, and in the analysis phase, what are some of the things that a PM does? So you look at market segmentation. So really here is you're trying to identify and group users according to their needs. That's one way of looking at market segmentation. You can look at from a psychographic location, but essentially in this key sets of activities, you're looking at understanding users and segmenting them based on key relevant factors. A factor could be grouping product, grouping people based on key features of a product, or based just you're using uh, factors that matter to your users, and that's what makes this phase here quite interesting. And then something else you do as well is building business cases, essentially writing the rationale why the business should invest in a product, or a new idea. I mentioned earlier with YouTube. YouTube, has been in business for a while, and then a company will always launch new products and new features. Those new products and new features, you call them initiatives. And in order to do so, you need to build a business case. Why should we invest in this? We have so many things to do. Why should we invest in this particular idea? How does it help us as a business to grow financially, to bring in more sales, more revenue, reduce our costs, and increase our profits? These are things that as a PM, these are some of the questions you will get, and you do so, and you answer this question by building a business case. And by building a business case, you can get buy-in from several stakeholders. So your marketing guys can either agree with it, or they can help you to optimize your business case. And in propositions, you look at creating and capturing new ideas. So business case articulates what that idea is, what the idea is that you're trying to make a case for, and then over here you look at analyzing and building the product itself. So moving it from different target segments, because you have segmentation here to identify the various segments that you're looking at potentially as a business attracting. And then you create a product idea, and you can target a key product idea to a single a single group of segment. So you don't have to target the entire landscape of segment. It could just be a single segment, and by making it that way, it increases your chances of success. And again, what is the goal of delivering products? It's to maximize your revenue and reduce your cost, and overall keep your profit higher. What is profit? Profit is your revenue minus your cost. And if that's the case, your goal is to keep your cost down. So if a new idea increases your cost, your business case will not be successful. If a new idea decreases your cost and makes enough revenue, has enough positive revenue, then it's the likelihood of it being successful is very high. Someone is trying to enter. Okay, and positioning always is something that it's very interesting. It's a fun exercise that we'll do in this. So determining the appropriate messaging and positioning against your external competitive environment, and of course internal as well. So positioning is, how do you position it in the mind of users? How is Uber positioning your mind? I think each of us might think of Uber differently, but that's how they've positioned it in our mind. You know, if you ask a business executive somewhere, they may say Uber is It's amazing. It's literally like having my own private driver. I call it as and when I need. That's positioning. And if you ask a student what's Uber, they may say, it's a cheaper alternative to getting around. So positioning, just a messaging. And with positioning, with the likes of AI platforms that are available now, again, we'll look at how ChatGPT can be utilized to position a product. And so in all of these, we'll go through it all together. We'll build a business case for an idea of your own. So everyone here is going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to, one of the key homeworks is going to be to think of a unique idea that no one has ever thought of. Very difficult, but you will come up with something, and we'll build a business case for that idea, and then we'll try to segment, who do we want to target? What type of users? Do we go after the Gen Zs, or maybe based on your business case, some product related factors? So some relevant product related factors to target and segment, and then we'll build on that idea, and then we'll position it in the minds of users, and then we'll take that product all the way through to the conception. That means understanding and expanding the requirements of how you will solve a problem, and then taking that problem all the way through to delivery. And that means building things like user stories, doing some acceptance criteria, some of those writings, and doing some designs, and doing some UX, and then handing over to the tech team, and that's it. And in the end, you see how being a PM, these are the same core skills that you need to work for any company, and in turn, you get that hands-on experience. So it's not just theoretical. We'll give you the practical of having to think of a business idea, and then building a business case for it, and then going through segmentation. So all of these key activities will really enhance your understanding of the role of a product manager. And then in the end, direction, you look at product and portfolio strategy. So this is where you have more than one product in your company. Most businesses today have multiple products, so you're likely going to have a portfolio strategy. And of course, this we've mentioned, this will be your bread and butter. You'll be so good at doing this. You do these things once, twice, they become repetitive. You can join any company, you do exactly the same thing. And that's why it's good to have these frameworks, because you join 100 companies and you do exactly the same thing, however, for a different product. So you just, you master them. Roadmaps, you're going to build tons of roadmaps in companies that you join. So a roadmap is just, the ideas split into different phases of when and how you should deliver your products and ideas. And then pricing, you don't get so much into. These you leave to the finance and marketing guys. They hear you more. You help on a consultative approach. As we know, price can be an indicator of value. Sometimes people look at a product, it's really cheap, they refuse to buy it or to use it. So you just need to ensure that the product is priced at a point where it doesn't impact people using it, one, and two, it isn't so expensive that people say no. So it's how do you get it, in the middle. As we mentioned earlier, you look at Uber, for example, in some markets, they're too expensive. So people don't use them. So you don't want that. So as a PM, you need to ensure that, the price is not deterring people, that is actually, conducive and making it, competitive enough for people to use. And so you won't get involved in this. You will have a sense of what a good price is. And you can use that sense because you've done your market research. So that's why all of these, insights gathering would help you to offer some guide, and to work with finance and marketing, to ensure that they have set a good price for your product. And of course, there are some inbounds, so some key things that you always be doing. So things like product discovery, requirements, design and build, operational readiness and trials. These are things that you be across all of them, and we'll look at these. I mentioned earlier with building a business case for a product, for a product idea that you will have, and taking that through all the way to conception. That you need to do all of these things. So what's a product discovery? Let's discover a problem that people are having. You always have to start from problem, and then discover what are some key requirements that will resolve that problem. And then here is design and build. So this is not you, this is the engineering team and your designers, them doing this, but you just working with a PO, to have an idea of what's happening, and offering your insights and advice if needed, but being there to support. And in operational readiness is just you asking the right people questions as and when they come to you, and likewise you going to them. And trials is having people try your product once it's completed. If everything is good and is ready to be launched, that's the outbound activities. Then it's launch, and then you have the product promotion. These things start to happen. Sales and marketing all kick in. You're there. You're a product manager, not a sales manager. So you're in this regards, some of your activities are more just being there to support, as in for conversations. The sales team might come to you and say, help us understand the vision of this product. And because you've done the vision much earlier in the product life cycle, you can communicate that vision to them, help them to understand, because if they understand, then they can sell it more to people. And then you have the sales support and so on. So it's just working with people across the company to ensure that everyone has a strong idea of what has to be done, and overall you end up with a team of people that are clear on how to execute their functions. Operational, we just looked at this. So some key deliverables as a PM. So your business case, again, not to worry, you will deliver this with a new idea that everyone would have to come up with, and then we'll do a market needs document. So really understanding what are the market needs for this new business you're thinking of, so this new product. And then you have to do a product roadmap, and in some cases some research might exist out there to help you. So are there any white papers, case studies, for instance, and product comparisons and comparative analysis and user stories? All of these things are critical to help you gain more insights on your on your market. So you can, in some cases, you have an idea, you launch it, you might be required to contribute to write white papers. That just means giving insights, giving your thoughts on a market, for instance. And then you look at case studies, for example, and you might be also required to write a competitor analysis and user stories. Or user stories will write, so you see them. Comparator analysis, you also see them as well, so you'll be fine to be able to write those. And then of course being able to present, that's something that we'll do as well in the course, so that will build your confidence in being developing a presentation and presenting it to your course mates. That's key. You become a confident speaker with practice. So everyone here will be required to present things, and we do so every now and again, and ultimately you become stronger in that department. So as a PM, you're the mini CEO, so that means you need to be adept at a lot of things, and it's not just having the technical skills. The technical just means being able to write all of these documentations and so on, but also being able to communicate, and that's critical. So what it means in practical term, to be a PM, a product manager. So you're you're a visionary, you advocate for customers, you make decisions as and when needed, and you orchestrate. You need to like be able to bring everyone together. And so you build the product, so you shape it, and then you ship the product, you sync the product with people and your users, but you add impact in all three of these sectors. So you're right in the middle. That's golden. If you're here, if everything you do is impacting everyone, then in this circle, then that's great. So shaping the product, ensuring that you get, all views in that product. So your vision has to be inclusive. It has to include, you have to take ideas from across the board. And then, in terms of customers, you have to, have your customers' views align with what you're trying to bring. And so that means getting ideas from customers. You get ideas from customers by doing market research. And so you bring those ideas in, and those ultimately will help you to be more impactful. So you're more impactful when you're across all three, items in this Venn diagram. And so, the intersection of business and technology. So you're right in the middle. Again, it's a Venn diagram of UX. So UX stands for user experience. User experience is making things simple, making things easier to access. The experience, it's so good. So your product has to create an expansive experience that people can enjoy using. It's not too difficult. Everyone can sign up today to Pompeii. All you need is just a Nigerian phone number. How cool is that? So that's a user experience. It's very easy. So a good UX experience is very helpful. And so as a PM, you need to think good UX experience, and we need to build this product. So technical capabilities, and then business insights. What is the problem that we're trying to solve? So bringing those three together, you're in the middle. You're always trying to align these, core areas. You're trying to bring them together. Because if you bring them together, you end up producing a product that is amazing for users to use. So balancing customer needs with technical feasibility. So the tech is here. Like, if we're going to build a product, we don't want it to be too expensive, as I said earlier. If it's too expensive, then the likelihood of, your senior managers approving it, it's low, because the goal of a business is to have your profits, so revenue minus costs. If your cost is going up, then your profit is going to go down, because it just means your revenue is going to be, that cost is going to eat off your revenue. So you need to ensure that your cost is not too much, but your revenue is going up. Because if your revenue is going up, then your cost and your revenue minus your cost is going to give you a good profit. Okay? And so that means you need to have that solid, fundamental from a business, standpoint, that you're always trying to optimize, the business goal of maximizing return on investment. So that profit is equal to revenue minus cost. That should be in your head, but you should also think, okay, a good product that solves problems, but isn't too expensive to build. And then from a tech standpoint, you want something that's feasible. So in an agile world today, you want something that can be delivered, at a quick and short turnaround. If it's gonna take 2 years to build a product, then that's too long. At that time, there's something called cost to market, and time to market. Those two things. If it takes too long for you to get to market, then someone else could be first to market. And if they're first to market, then all other products are now looked at as being inferior by customers. Think of Netflix. If you think of other platforms offering the same idea, they will never be seen in the same light as Netflix, because Netflix is the first of its kind. to go to the market. So it's always best for you to get something out there and then iterate. So using tech, so you think feasibility, what's the easiest level of effort that could be used, in order to release a first, version of our product, and then you optimize it over time. And then of course, as I alluded earlier, user experience. This is critical in ensuring that you're, speaking with users and getting their feedback. That is crucial. Whether you're a massive conglomerate or you're a startup, you need to do this. You need to ensure that your end product is easy to use, that people don't need to have a PhD to use your product. Because what happens in today's world is people dump your product and jump onto the next product. Because if it's too difficult to use, no one wants to sit and learn how to use it. So you need to make it intuitive. So overall, I would say the important attributes of being a PM, you need to, your leadership skills, because it isn't a title role where you say you're leading a team to deliver. Yes, you can have a team of product managers that you lead, but you need to lead not by title. You need to lead by influence. So really influencing people to do the right things. And that means having a North Star. So having a goal that you stir everyone towards, and in turn, everyone can follow that vision. So driving everyone via a vision, and then of course you need to be really adept at understanding and setting strategy. That's crucial. If you don't have a strategy, then how do you get to achieve your vision? So all of this we'll look at in the course as well, on how you could do so. And then impact, mentioned just a few slides ago. You need to be good at being able to balance different skills. So your tech, your business, your UX, your user experience. So impact, whatever product you release has to be impactful to customers. And to do so, oftentimes you need to, most of the time, majority of the time, you need to understand customer insights into the problems they are facing, the problems they're having. Because if you understand their problem, then you would be able to solve majority of their concerns, and in turn, your product delivery will be impactful on their lives. So you want to ensure that whenever customers engage with your product, they come back much better. Because if they still face the same problems in life, then it's most likely to be out of business in no time. And then of course, having a vision. What's your vision? If you have a vision, it's much easier. And your vision just means your product vision. And then be articulate, be able to communicate your ideas to your stakeholders, to users, to everyone, team members, and be able to run planning. You need to be a good planner. So being strategic in your planning. So that's where roadmaps are really helpful. And again, roadmaps, once you do a first one, you find that it's one of the easiest activities you can do, and they'll be your bread and butter, because you'll be doing them every now and again. And so you can do this individually, or you can collaborate with people and to get them done. So collaboration is a key ingredient of being a successful PM. And then ownership, all of these problems that customers are having, you have to own them, and you then champion them in your efforts within the company. So you join a team, you understand the problems that customers are facing, and then you take those problems and you try to gain customer insights, so that will enable you to fully understand the problem, and then you can use the frameworks that will provide you to be able to start delivering strategically. But yeah, so strategic, that's something, again, it's we mentioned it here. You need to be strategic and be able to work in a fast-paced environment. So not every environment is fast paced. Some environments are really, slow, and so you don't have to be delivering things at every minute or every other day. So you just have to be passionate and very creative at framing things. Because you'll be looking at solving really complex problems. Some problems are complex, some aren't. So, but you just need to be adept at understanding, what user problems are, and then deciding on how complex you think, some of these problems may be. And when you're running research, again, research helps you to understand the complexities of user problems. But again, we'll look through this so you'd know. And this is key. So in collaboration, for instance, we'll give you access to Jira. So I want everyone here to really be good at, really have a solid understanding of Jira, how to use it, and Confluence, Miro, Slack. All of these key technologies these are the tools that any team you join, these are some of the tools. I would say 80-90% of what they use. I haven't included Teams here, but Microsoft Teams is another platform that most companies use. These are known as the collaboration tools. So Slack is, it's just a platform that you join a company, and that's where everyone uses, especially in tech, a tech firm. That's a platform that they use to keep in touch and communicate with themselves. Miro is a platform that UX designers and business users as well. They use Miro with another platform called Figma. I'll also add that here before sending it to all of you. And then Confluence is more an intranet platform that it's not internet, it's intranet that employees within the company. That's where you store your knowledge domain. So projects or products that have been developed, all of them will be documented here. And everyone in this course will have to use Confluence to document their idea. And so again, getting you to practice these things. So if you go for an interview and someone says, have you used Confluence? You can speak confidently that you have, because you would have. And then Jira, lastly, is one that is used by the product owner and the engineering team to deliver key features of a product. So you have an idea of how that works. It's crucial, and everyone here will be able to use all of these platforms. So not to worry, you're in good hands. I mentioned stakeholders earlier. So these are some of the stakeholders that you will always be working with. In most cases, unless it's a startup environment, you don't get to, have conversations directly with the COO or the CIO. You may be in meetings with them, but it's just these are some of your users. They may have something to say about a product that you're working on. They may have some feedback or some questions. So you have to be very confident and being able to work with people that are in executive roles. And so you have product leads, you have tech leads, you have operations teams. These guys, whenever a product is completed and the tech team have finished their implementation, they take it and they release it to the world. And you have the UX and UI team, so user experience and user interface design team. These guys, they ensure that the product looks good, and it's easy to use. And then of course you have your quality assurance, it just means QA. These guys, they work with the technical team, that's your engineering team, to ensure that the product is usable. And of course the sales team, everyone know, if the product it's about selling, or maybe it could just be getting more people to adopt the product. So sales team, they have to do their thing and try and get as many sales as possible. And then the implementation team, that's the same as the engineering team. And you have your brand and marketing leads. your operations uh, from a legal standpoint, or from a marketing standpoint as well. So you look at your finance team as well. So all of these key stakeholders, you need to be very adept at having conversations with them. To role play as well. During the course, you can see what kinds of questions someone from finance might ask. So, in summary, I mentioned domain expertise earlier. So, very often, your knowledge of your market and product area is why your company hired you. Say you work for Google Maps for 5 years and you decide to leave and you applied for a role at Uber. Of course, they will hire you because they see that you have a great understanding of maps. And what powers Uber is the map that customers use. The map is one of the key things that they use to serve users. So you might be hired because you have such strong domain, expertise. Or maybe you used to work for a bank and you apply to a fintech and they want you immediately. So that's domain expertise. And in product management, you quite quickly fall into this where you start getting roles in certain industry because you've been there for so long. So you're not seen as a subject matter expert. So you leverage that knowledge to, get higher paying roles and to get yourself moving up the ladder. So it's crucial. If you're working in, let's say, in some fintech firms, it's crucial that whilst you're there, you gain as much, experience. You learn as much as possible, because if you do so, then you can leverage that experience to get a bigger salary. There's always a bigger salary. But this is tech. You get into Silicon Valley, for instance. Let's say you get a remote role there, you can get something going for almost 200K. That may not be an incentive, but if you can get it, why not? And then you have things like leadership skills. That's, as a PM, it's crucial that you have the ability to work with several people. Again, we're just seeing them here as your stakeholders. All of these people have their own agendas, so you need to be able to leverage them to help you deliver on your agenda, and that's what makes leadership so crucial. And operation ability as well. As a PM, you need to dive into many nitty-gritty details in order to manage your product. So you need to be very adept at being able to, dive into a product, understand it, and quickly champion what has to be done. And this is something you get much better at as you progressively continue to work for the company and understand the product much better, as well as your users. So always championing users' needs. That's crucial. Okay, I think everyone had this, which was to review products or platforms, chosen by a class. And what I was going to do was, put everyone, so you have a name against all of these. And thank you all for, sending that over. So we'll get in contact with those that have chosen. I mentioned earlier we have some clashes where some people have chosen the same company. It's going to be done by first come, first serve. So whoever submitted first will get that company. If you chose Google Maps and we have two people choosing it, we'll look at what time someone submitted, and the first person that submitted Google Maps gets it, and someone else will be reassigned a different company, or we can ask you to choose a different company. Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Darlington.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, particularly on this researching for a product and analyze its life cycle.
Hmm.
Um, what's the expectation? Really.
Okay, so here is to help you understand. The expectation of the exercise is to help you understand in depth about the life cycle of products. By product, I mean a digital platform. We look at the likes of Google Maps, for instance. Google Maps is a technical platform, and it's something that's been around for a while. So how has its evolution? How has it evolved from when it first, was released into the market? So this is something that you're going to have to, do research and then create. I'll give you, we'll do one together in a class, and then everyone will see how that has been done, and then in turn, that would then enable you to go do your own analysis based on what you chose. So it's
All right.
first learning by everyone doing it in a class, and then will be a takeaway for you to do one and then submit.
All right. Thank you, man.
That's all right. Any other question? Question on the class itself? Anything that I could clarify? Give some more examples? I will share this slide with you so you have it for your perusal, so you can go back and read. At the end of this is our second class. At the end of our third class, there will be an like a quiz to help you test that you've understood everything henceforth, and we'll combine these as we go. So we'll see where who are those people that are really engaging with the class, that are really getting that understanding. And the quiz is not just going to be about the slides, but also about the slides, but it's also going to be about the readings, the key readings. I think one was shared last week or so. Another one will be shared again. So it's ensuring that people are reading that and also engaging with the content. And so questions can come from anywhere, but it's just being aware. It's not meant to be too intense. I mean, it's light, just to test that you're fully understanding the class and you're getting the best out of it. And so when you get that interview, you can really bring the best of your knowledge to the forefront and get the role.